This video is brought to you by Riverside.
My early 20s were very much spent trying to figure things out. Obviously, as anyone in their early 20s, you have no idea what you're doing. But I did know that I wanted to make an income with my computer. I wanted to make an income from home. I didn't really want to have a traditional 9 to 5. And one of the only ways to do that was to start my own business, was to start my own thing, to make my own money. I tried a countless number of income streams just to see what works and see what I enjoy doing. And the thing is, I still do now. I still try and come up with new income streams all the time because I don't feel like it's a one and done thing. I'm always looking for other ways to increase my income streams. In this video, I wanted to cover the income streams that made me a millionaire in my 20s. These are a mix of active and passive sources of income because I feel like active sources of income are what most people actually probably need to focus on in their 20s. You probably don't really have any money to do passive sources of income. And I also feel like active sources of income, they're more likely to grow quicker because you can actively spend time on them, making them grow. I want to make it very clear and important to those watching this video that it isn't a competition. Just because you've seen someone do well at your age, that doesn't necessarily mean that you also need to be doing exactly the same at the same age. Everyone's timeline is completely different, so don't worry too much about it. I found that most of my successes have come from consistency, spending months or years on a certain thing, just working away at it. Nothing has ever just happened for me overnight. It takes time, it takes consistency. Everything takes time and consistency because overnight success is incredibly rare, and the reason why you hear of overnight success is because it is rare. That's why people talk about it. So number one for me is of course YouTube. I've covered this various times on the channel. Some of you will already know, but maybe some of you won't, that I actually have another YouTube channel where I cover tech and gear. It's just stuff that I was always interested in. YouTube was something I started completely for fun. There was no intention for it to really make a lot of money. I just thought to myself, hey, I love tech and gear. I love watching videos on tech and gear. Let's do my own videos and really just see what happens. And I started my channel in 2015. I didn't actually take it seriously until 2020. So there's 5 years there where I kind of just like worked on it consistently, just uploading whenever I had time, whenever I felt like uploading. I didn't have like a rigid schedule or anything. I do think to myself, if I did have a rigid schedule where I was uploading maybe one video every week, I might have gone quicker, but that wasn't my intention. My intention was just to do it at my own pace. And yeah, 2020 is when I started taking it a bit more seriously and I realized, hey, actually YouTube can be a great source of income for me. My tech channel especially has been a huge revenue generator, mainly for sponsorships. I think a lot of people think that you make a lot of money from AdSense, and you can if you get millions and millions of views, but tech channels aren't usually getting millions of views. But because they're hyper focused on tech, sponsorships are a fantastic way to make money on tech and gear channels. The best thing about running a tech channel is that I'd argue it's actually one of the easier niches because you don't necessarily have to put a ton of effort into storytelling or anything like that. You know, people who make skits, people who do proper storytelling YouTube videos, they're putting in a lot of effort to make those videos, a lot more than I feel like I would into my own tech videos. Because tech and gear YouTube channels are of course about the tech, about the product. All you have to do is showcase the product, use it, maybe share some cool features and share your opinions. I feel like it's actually fairly simple. Now, of course, I'm making it sound simple because I've been doing it for years. I know for a lot of people that can be very difficult, but it's one of those things where once you've done it consistently for however long, it just becomes sort of second nature. And the great thing is there's always new tech. Companies are always releasing new products. So I don't have to sit there always coming up with new video ideas. When a lot of these companies are releasing products that other people are already interested in, I know that me making a video about that product will get views anyway. So for example, when I do iPhone reviews or MacBook reviews, I know they're going to do well on my channel because there are millions of people looking for videos on those products. The other thing is tech companies have a load of money. They have lots and lots of money to spend because they're already spending money on advertising, marketing their products. And one of the ways they do that is through paying for sponsorships, is through paying someone like me to feature a product, maybe in like a gift guide video or a tech roundup video or something like that. I do really enjoy running my tech channel. It's one of the best things that I feel like I've started, but it's because I love video, I love photography, I love tech. All of these things sort of mixed together just make a lot of sense for me. And right now I can see myself running my tech channel for the next 5, 10, maybe 15, 20 years because I don't think it's something I'm ever really going to fall out of love of, but I do think to myself, do I want to be making YouTube videos forever? I don't know. I don't have a sort of anything set in stone. I'm kind of just taking it as it comes. Something which I'm asked a lot to do, and I have considered, is podcasts. Because I know podcasts can be another fantastic way to make money. And I think it makes a lot of sense, right? Especially for the types of videos I do, especially these types of videos where I'm kind of just sitting behind the camera talking, just sharing my opinions, sharing my experiences, things like that. Podcasts do make a lot of sense. I recently came across a tool that can actually help me do exactly that, and not only that, it can do other things as well. The tool I'm talking about is Riverside, who are also sponsoring this video. Not only is it designed for recording podcasts, it can also help put together video interviews, panel discussions, presentations, webinars, and a lot more. The way it works is that it records high quality video files on the actual specific user's machine, so you don't have to worry about recording poor quality internet streamed video. Riverside makes it so easy for anyone to produce high quality content that's ready to be shared without needing any editing skills. Riverside also uses AI to slice your full recordings into clips so that you can swiftly share it on social media. No editing required means saving hours of work. Plus, it even has screen sharing, AI transcriptions, automatic captions, and a bunch of other useful features. And if you ever do want to take control over the editing, Riverside makes it super easy by recording everything into separate audio and video tracks. If you are someone who's keen to record your own podcast, make sure to check out Riverside. I've used it in the past myself when I've been on other podcasts, and it works great. You can also use my code OLIO15 for 15% off, and you can try Riverside for free. As well as YouTube AdSense with my YouTube channel, of course, the big money that I mentioned is in sponsorships. And there's another thing called brand deals as well. I like to see sponsorships and brand deals sort of different. Brand deals can also be sort of considered as client work. So as I mentioned, a large chunk of my money from my tech channel comes from sponsors wanting to get their products in front of relevant viewers. So for example, the way a sponsor usually would work is that maybe I have an iPhone review video. They have a bunch of new iPhone accessories. This is actually one of the most common ways. You've probably seen them if you've seen my iPhone review videos. And what they want to do is they want to get those accessories in front of people who are considering buying an iPhone. So it just makes a lot of sense. If I'm doing an iPhone review video, it makes sense to include other iPhone related products in the video as sponsorships. Now, of course, that's how sponsorships work. But what also works in my favor is that because I like to do high quality productions, well, relatively high quality productions, I like to think, for my tech YouTube channel, brands will come to me and ask, hey, can you make a video or can you take some photos of our product that we want to place on our own social media? So maybe they want to place it on their own YouTube channel, maybe they want to place it on their Instagram, their TikTok, the website, wherever it might be. I found that this has become more of a common thing, and having a YouTube channel opens up my network massively because obviously I have this catalog of work, I have this catalog of videos showing that I can do this. Like I can make these types of videos. I can put the production into these types of videos and I can do it reliably. So having all these brands that already come to me for sponsorships, being able to work with them to make branded content for their own stuff, for their own channels, it's just an amazing way to make a lot of money. The other way that this is similar is agency work, and agencies charge absolutely huge money to have productions, to put together stuff for brands. Now, of course, an agency's production is always going to be much higher quality. They're gonna make stuff for TVs and movies and stuff like that. It's just going to be a much higher end production. But sometimes brands don't want that. Sometimes brands want stuff that's a bit more simple. Maybe it's like an unboxing video, maybe it's just a quick product showcase, something like that. They're more than willing to pay good money for that as well. Obviously, they're not going to pay agency rates, but it's going to be a lot more than just a standard sponsorship. Client work. So even though I've just mentioned brand deal sponsorships and things like that, which is sort of client work, I was doing a different type of client work before I even started doing YouTube, before I even sort of started doing social media or internet related stuff. And that was web design, UI design, mobile app design. In my late teens and early 20s, I knew I wanted to make money through my computer, like I mentioned earlier. And something I really enjoyed was doing design work, branding work and stuff like that. But obviously at that time, I had no idea what I was doing. So I just spent years learning, trying to figure things out, learning different design styles, figuring out different software, just to understand how design works. Photoshop back then was really popular for UI design, even though it's a photo editing app. But UI design was not really mainstream at the time. Then we had Sketch, which completely changed the game, to be honest, when it comes to UI design, because it was solely designed for UI design, and it was amazing. Like designing stuff, designing UI interfaces, designing websites. It was just so much easier in an app like Sketch. And then of course Figma came along, and Figma has pretty much become the default now. Everyone seems to use Figma. And it's also free. In my early 20s, I was regularly getting clients through a website called dribble.com, which used to be a very, very popular website for design work. It used to probably be one of the only websites that you could go to for design work. And what used to happen was that designers used to share their work on there. I used to share conceptual work, client work, things like that. And it basically used to help clients match up with designers. So the best thing about Dribble was that obviously you would share your designs, you would share your style, and then a client would come along, they would maybe look at different styles, they'd look at maybe different designs, and then they would see who'd made that design, get in touch with them and hire them to create that sort of style for their own stuff. Because that's what I've noticed about design. It's not necessarily about just knowing how to do UI design. It's all about having a specific style, because that's what clients are willing to pay good money for. They want to come along and be like, we really like that style. We want our brand to also have that style. We want our apps, our website to have that style. Let's hire this person because we know they can do that style. Most of my work was website design and app design. I was charging anywhere between $500 to $1,000 a week when I first started out, which obviously isn't that much money, but for me at the time, that was an amazing amount of money. That was more money than I had ever earned before. As the years went by though, I started upping my rate quite a bit, and I went all the way up to like $500 to $1,000 a day, depending on the project. I still do client work now, just not as much as before, because my other businesses, my other ventures are just a lot more scalable. But when client work does come along and it's a company or brand that I like and they have a project that I think is going to be fun, I do take it on because I still like doing it. Digital products. So I talk about digital products on the channel all the time, but there is a good reason why, because it's probably my favorite income stream. My first digital product, for those who can remember, because I know there are some long-time followers, were icons for Android. This was a long time ago when I got my first smartphone, which was an Android phone. It was a HTC Desire. I still have that phone. I still have it somewhere. I was just obsessed with customizing it. I wanted to customize the way it looked, wallpapers, icons, apps, and things like that. And that's actually what also led me into doing UI design and stuff like that. But before I started doing UI design, I was just selling Android icons, and it blew my mind that these icons that I created, I could just put them online, charge a couple of dollars, and people would happily buy them. For me in my early 20s, when I had that realization, I was just like, okay, I'm onto something here. It might not make me millions, but I know it can make me a good side income. And obviously that has now evolved into store.olio.com. So I have a proper digital product store where I sell presets, I sell wallpapers, I sell website templates, just all sorts of stuff. And I've made videos on the channel before about my digital product store. And yeah, it's made like nearly 200,000 in the last year, which just absolutely blows my mind. However, before store.olio.com, I used to make Tumblr themes and WordPress templates, and I have mentioned Tumblr themes on the channel numerous number of times. I feel like people are going to be sick of it now, but Tumblr themes were really the sort of game changer for me at the time when Tumblr was popular, because I made nearly $700,000 from them, which is just outrageous. Like, it just absolutely blew my mind. It changed my life, that did, pretty much, because as well as making that money, I was also making obviously money from other things like client work and stuff, and it completely changed my path because it opened my mind up to this concept of, even though digital products that I'd made before, like the icons and stuff, I was charging a few dollars for them. Here was a product that was more sort of business focused, more business related, because most of my Tumblr themes were bought by businesses. And I realized businesses are much more willing to pay good money for something that works right out of the box. They don't want to have to spend time making something themselves when they can just spend $50 to have a template that's ready to go. And when I realized that, it made sense as to why so many software companies, so many people who are making digital products were making millions. For me, this is my easiest income stream, because the great thing about digital products is that once you've made them and you've put them out there, you don't have to continuously maintain them. Obviously, it depends on the product, but most digital products, you don't have to continually maintain them. The profit margins are also huge, and they can just sort of sell in the background as you keep marketing them. I think this income stream is also the perfect blend of active and passive, because I spent my active time making them, and now they just make money passively in the background. Physical products. So in 2017, 2018, I started ulxstore.com. And this was more of an experiment because I love the idea of making my own physical products and seeing if I can make money from them, because I'd done it with digital products. Why not try it with physical products? But it was not easy. Like, it's one of the toughest things I've done. One of my first products was desk mats, And the inspiration for making desk mats actually came from Instagram, because I was regularly sharing my workspace on Instagram, and people used to see desk mats like this very one here, which is from yourlexstore.com. People used to see these desk mats and they used to ask, where did you get that desk mat from? Where can I buy the same desk mat? So I thought to myself, okay, how can I go about making my own desk mats so that I can make money from my own Instagram posts, so that I can make money from sharing stuff online? Desk mats also pretty simple, let's be honest. It's just a piece of leather. I knew that starting off simple would help a lot. Let's not go straight into the deep end and make something super complex. Let's just keep it easy, and it's why I started with desk mats. But now on ULX store, we sell backpacks, we sell valet trays, and a bunch of other stuff. And in 2020, 2021, that was my best year for the store. I made over $1 million. So yeah, ULX store for me was a big revenue generator. Of course, it's not all profit. There are costs involved, because obviously I have to take into account shipping costs, I have to take into account costs of making products and stuff. But again, it just opened my perspective on making physical products, how to make physical products, how they work and things. And of course, marketing, because I did spend money on marketing these products as well. And yeah, it was just a good way to make a lot of money. Investments. So now that I was making a lot of active income, I had a lot of money just sitting in the bank account, and I didn't really know what to do with it. And it's something that I wish I had learned much earlier, because I feel like it's probably one of the only regrets I have, and that is not getting into investing earlier on. I wish I had started investing when I was 18, but I only really got into it when I was maybe 24, 25. So I feel like I was quite late to the game, because I think to myself, man, if I had spent those years just even investing just a little bit of money, my savings into like S&P 500 or something, it would just sit there making money without me really having to do anything. Everyone's version of investing will be different, but I feel like there are two main forms of investing that most people will know, and that's property and stocks and shares. So for property, the main investment that I made was the property that I was living in. Obviously, I'm now living in Dubai, but I still have my property in the UK. I wasn't necessarily looking to buy property to make money off of renting them out, mainly because doing rentals and stuff for me just isn't that appealing. Obviously, other people do it and they make good money from it. But for me, investing my money into something like a house, which of course is usually quite a safe investment, the problem with that is you have a lot of your money tied up in the house. If you want to get that money out, you can't just sell it the same day or the next day and get your money out. There just isn't much flexibility. And of course, you have to manage the property, you have to manage tenants, you have to take into account costs of upkeep of the property. There's just a lot of work when it comes to doing property rentals and things. It just wasn't that appealing for me. So the next step for me was stocks and shares. And stocks and shares for me have just absolutely blown me away at how, I mean, I don't want to say easy, because obviously there is risk involved. As with any investment, there's a lot of risk, by the way. Like, I do want to make that clear. Like, to make money, you do have to take some risks. But stocks and shares for me have just completely changed my life. The best thing about stocks and shares is that I can take money in and out whenever I like, really. So if I do need money urgently, I can sell some stocks and get the money out. I haven't had to do that, thankfully, but knowing that the flexibility is there is just a great peace of mind for me. And also, you can just do it from your phone or from your laptop. You don't have to go through all these different legal things. You don't have to sort of move large chunks of money. It's just a lot easier buying stocks and shares. Naturally, like I said, there is risk involved, especially if you're investing in individual stocks. But I think investing in something that's fairly secure, like the S&P 500, over a long enough period of time, because that's the other thing, stocks and shares isn't something that I got into thinking that I'm going to make money very quickly and sort of like in a week's time I'm going to have a much percentage up. No. Like, even with my stocks and shares now, I don't actually look at them every day. I don't even look at them every week sometimes. I kind of just leave them in the background, because that's what my portfolio is all about. I just want to put money in there regularly, leave it in the background, just going up. And yeah, S&P 500, if you have it over a long enough time period, you are going to come out on top. You're going to beat interest rates, you're going to beat inflation, and your money is just going to be worth more, and you're going to have more money as well. When I look at my portfolio, I can see that in the last 4 years alone, I have done more than 170%, which is absolutely wild, by the way. This is not normal. This is not normal at all, and it's definitely not something that I can keep up. If you are interested in the platform that I use and the stocks that I buy in particular, I do have a link to sort of my portfolio and everything in the description. Make sure to check it out. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. These are the income streams that made me a millionaire in my 20s. And yeah, I know I'm very fortunate and also lucky. Like, a lot of people don't like to admit it, But sometimes you do have to get lucky. There's luck in the country you're born in, there's luck in your healthcare, like obviously being healthy is very, very important. There's luck in how you're educated. There is all these different things that of course make me very lucky. But also at the same time, I think to myself, I could just sit there and do nothing. But no, like I did put in the effort of having to learn these things. Like no one ever taught me these things. I've not gone to university. I've not really done any courses or anything. It's just stuff that I was genuinely interested in and just learned because I had a passion for it. So I do like to think I've also made my own luck. It's not something that sort of just happened overnight. But anyway, I feel like I'm rambling. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter and subscribe for more.